Welcome to the ArcGIS Survey123, an introduction to reports session. My name is Jody Liu Zheng, and with me today is Barbara Webster and Zach Sutherby. We all work on the Survey123 team, and today we will be covering how to get started with Survey123 reports. In this session, we will cover the following sections. If you are new to Survey123 reports, this session will give you some great info to help you get started. But if you're already familiar with Survey123 reports, Barbara and Zach's demo for the summary section and automation will be really useful. They will help you to take your reports to the next level. So let's get started with an overview of the Survey123 reports. Survey123 is all about making forms smart, taking what you would traditionally done on a paper form and making it not only digital but also clever. In a way, the Survey123 report capability is about bringing your survey data back into a paper form, except that in this case, you want the form to present data as opposite to using the form to collect data. It's a powerful reporting tool that allows you to customize your report and present data exactly as you like. For example, to comply with legal documents. Here is your general Survey123 workflow. In step 1, you have made your survey, and in step 2, you distributed it and received responses. And then in step 3, you analyze the data collected and make decisions. But to help you with the last part, you might need the data presented in a report formally, and you can share it or archive it or email to someone, and that's where the report capability comes in. With Survey123, you can create beautiful reports from your survey data. There are two key components to Survey123 reports. The first one is the Survey123 website. This is where you manage your report templates and produce reports. The second one is your ArcGIS organization. All templates are stored here, as well as the output report files in most cases. So how it works. You start by designing a report template in Microsoft Word, and this can contain all the formatting you're already familiar with in Microsoft Word. And starting from 310, you can also add summary sections and statistics in the template, and Barbara will talk more about it later. Next step is to upload your template to Survey123. You can add multiple templates for the same survey, but for different purposes. Finally, you can generate your reports. This can be a single record or a batch print in either DocX or PDF format. Here are some new features and enhancements we introduced for Survey123 reports. The online quick reference page is a new experience to help you learn the exact syntax you need to apply in your report templates. It includes all supported expressions for all question types in a particular survey. And now you can better control the formatting of number and date or time questions by applying the locale or UTC offset parameters. We have also improved the performance of reports that contains a large amount of maps. So now onto our first demonstration. I will show a quick demo of how to create a report from a template through the Survey123 website. Here is a quick tree hazard survey. It has a map question to collect the location of the hazard and use image question to upload photos. Inspection results has been submitted, and now we can print reports for this survey. On the Survey123 website, go to Data tab. Check the Full View option is enabled. Select a record. The survey response appears in the panel on the right. And this is the responses collected. Select Report. The first step is to create a template. You can create multiple templates for the same survey, so you can tailor reports for different purposes. Select Manage Templates. Here you can add and delete templates for your survey. Select Create Sample Template. This creates a basic template to help you get started. You can use this template right away, or alternatively, you can download the sample and make modifications to suit your needs. Survey questions are referenced in the template using placeholders. The question name is enclosed in curly brackets with a $sign. You can position the question as required. You can also add formatting, branding, and modify the layout just as you would with a regular Word template. Select Quick Reference to view all syntax supported for this survey. Copy a sample syntax in the Quick Reference and paste it into the template. For example, I will specify the photos printed in the report to use this 600 to 400 pixel dimension. I can just paste it into the report template. And modify to 600 to 400. I also added a header and footer to make the template a bit more visually appealing. Once you're happy with the template, save the edits and then go back to the Survey123 website to upload the modified file. The file will be checked as it's uploaded to make sure the syntax is correct. Give the template a name and select Save. The template will be saved as an item in your ArcGIS Online organization. You are now ready to print reports. First, select a record you would like to print, and then select a template. Select Preview Sample Report to generate a watermarked PDF. This is useful when refining your template design. You can make changes to your template and then preview how it looks. If you are happy with the look and feel of the sample report, then we're ready to create the final report. Give the report a name and choose a folder in your ArcGIS account and output format to save the report. Use Show Credits link to estimate the cost before you print the final report. Select Generate. The Recent Task panel will display the progress. When the report is ready, you can download it to your computer. And here is the finished product, a customized Survey123 report from your template. You can also generate multiple reports at once by select multiple records and specify the output options. The output will be a single PDF file containing all 3 records. Now let's take a closer look of each step. Report templates are Microsoft Word docs files, and they are managed through Survey123 website and get stored as items in your ArcGIS content. The Survey123 website provides 3 different types of sample templates and a quick reference page to help you to get started. You can format your template like you would any other Word document, including adding colors, headers and footers, or logos and branding. You can also present your data in tables if you will. Report templates use this special syntax. The placeholder variable is used in the syntax, and that's substituted for the question's value in the final report. Different expressions and parameters are supported for different question types, as well as conditional elements or loop over a repeat question. Here is an example of the templates on the left and the output on the right. You can see the question placeholders on the left-hand side and then these are substituted for the real survey data in the output report file on the right-hand side. The quick reference page provides example syntax for expressions for each question in the survey. It is not a generic help document. It is a live document listing all your survey questions and the syntax you can use to format and modify these questions in your report. Every survey has its own quick reference page. Another cool feature is the preview report. This allows you to quick generate a watermarked PDF of your final report and no credits are charged. The benefit of use this function is that you can refine your template design without incurring a charge. As we'll also see in the demo, there are 3 batch printing options. You got options to create a separate file for every survey record you selected, or you can merge them all into one file using either of the 2 merging options. So these are the most common workflows of using the Survey123 reports. You can find more details in the documentation or on the Esri community.
Thanks, Jody. As Jody demonstrated, an individual report displays the results of each survey record. Another type of report is the summary report. A summary report displays the results of multiple records. It can be used with statistics methods to summarize the survey records, and can be a standalone report or at the beginning or end of one or multiple individual reports. This example shows a few common approaches of displaying data in a summary report, which include displaying a single statistics value, a table of statistics, or a table showing each response value. You can generate a template for a standalone summary report or a summary report combined with an individual report in the Manage Templates menu in the Survey123 Website Data tab. The generated report template will contain all the necessary elements for a summary report. This is an example of a summary report template that I've exported from the Manage Templates menu. It contains all the required elements for a summary report and can easily be altered or added to customize your report. Let's look at the main summary report components that are shown here. First, all summary reports need a summary section start and end tag. They will also need a reference to the survey results layer. When a single statistic value for the entire layer is being shown, the layer syntax is the results layer name with a $sign in curly brackets. To show multiple values for a layer, a repeat will need to be used by adding a hashtag and end tag. Methods can also be applied to layers to form an expression that queries a layer, generates statistics, or otherwise alters how it is displayed. In this example, you can also see that it is possible to show individual record response values by placing a question name within a repeat. The methods that are available in the summary report are where, stats, order-by-fields, and resultRecordCount. Additionally, the important and input parameters syntax can also be used in a summary report. We will discuss how each of these methods works in the next section. Before we look at the specific methods, it should be noted that it is not required to use all methods or method parameters, but it is required that the methods always be in the same order. The syntax for an expression that includes all methods will look like the example in the second bullet point. A couple limitations of statistics methods in summary sections are that including maps or attachments such as images in a summary report is not supported, and extracting EXIF data from attachments in a summary report is also not supported. Next, we'll look at how each of the methods from the previous slide works in the context of a demo survey. This survey is an inpatient screening survey designed to be completed by hospital staff to track COVID-19 cases. It collects a patient's name, COVID test results, symptoms that are being experienced, referring facility, and the survey also provides a repeat to list all members of the household. In order to more easily track caseloads over time, we want to create a weekly summary report. I'll define the time period I want to include in the summary report by creating a date range filter in the Survey123 Data tab before exporting the report. The first thing we will include in our template report is a count of the total number of surveys submitted for the reporting time period. This can be accomplished by using the results layer with a stats method. The stats method returns statistics for the layer or repeat and has three main parameters: the out statistics, group by fields for statistics, and the having clause. The out statistics parameter has three subparameters and is where you define the statistic type, the field to perform the statistic on, and an option to define the result as a variable to be used within a repeat. Not all of these parameters are necessary, and for us to display the total number of surveys for our inpatient survey, we only need to use one of the three parameters and two of its subparameters. You can see in this example expression that we're using the count statistic type and the object ID field name. By default, the summary report will use the scope defined in the Survey123 user interface. So this statistic will give us the count of unique records within the date range that we defined in the Survey123 website. The image on the left shows how the result layer would look in the Word document template, and the image on the right shows the report output displaying the single value for the count of records within the specified date range. The next thing we want to include in our summary report is a statistic showing of those surveys that were submitted, how many reported a positive COVID-19 test result. To accomplish this, we will use the same stats method we just created, and we will also add a where method. The where method defines the scope of the query by only returning the results that satisfy the where clause. The where clause is the only parameter for this method. I mentioned before that the methods must always be in the correct order. So for our template, we will insert the where method before the stats method and set it so the test result field is equal to positive. And you can see that when we add this to our template on the left, the resulting report shows only the count of surveys where the test result is equal to positive. The next thing we want to know is which three hospitals had the highest positive test rates, and what were those test rates. For this, we'll add two additional methods, the orderByFields method and the resultRecordCount method. To do this, we'll create a repeat table for the results layer. This layer has a where method that will only include responses where the test result is equal to positive, a stats method that finds the count of object IDs, then writes the value to a variable named count per hospital. This count per hospital variable can be referenced elsewhere in the repeat. The group by parameter is set to the referring facility field, so each statistic value will be grouped by the hospital name. The order by fields is set to count per hospital, so the hospitals will be listed in the table by case count in descending order. And finally, the result record count is set to 3, so regardless of how many hospitals are listed in the survey results layer, only the 3 with the highest case counts will be shown. The two values that will be shown in each line of the table are the referring facility field and the count per hospital, which was the variable that we defined to hold the count for each hospital. So the resulting table, shown on the right, will show the 3 hospitals with the highest positive case count, along with the case count for each. Another statistic that would be helpful to include in this report is the total number of surveys submitted and total positive test results count for the entire results layer instead of just for the week we selected in the Survey123 website. For this, we'll use a piece of additional syntax that can be used with the where-order-by-fields or the result-record-count methods. Adding important at the end of one of these methods escapes the settings made in the Survey123 user interface and looks at the entire feature layer contents. So in our example, if we create a count of responses and a where clause with 1 = 1 to return all the records, and then add important to the end of the where clause, the output statistics will be based on the entire dataset instead of just the reporting week that we set in the website. This will also work if we set the where clause to query for all positive test results, and then add important to the end of the where clause. In the output report, you can see that the two new statistics are based on all the records in the entire survey results layer. The final thing I want to add to the report is a table displaying the names and a little information about each patient that tested positive. I also want to include the contact information for household members. To do this, I can display all the desired responses in a repeat, and then apply methods in order to only show selected records. I will also be able to show data that is stored in the survey responses as repeats and nested repeats. For this table, I will put the record result layer into a repeat by again placing it in a table and adding a hashtag before the layer name and an in tag at the end of the table. I will apply a where and order by field method to only show records with positive test results and to order them alphabetically by patient name. I also specified 3 field names that I want to display in the table for each record that satisfies the where clause. To add the household member repeat, I will add the repeat name with a hashtag and in tag to the table, making sure they're nested before the in tag of the parent layer. And again, I'll add any field names that I want to be shown for each repeat record. Now that we've added everything we want to the summary report template, let's export it and look at our final result. From the Data tab in the Survey123 website, open the Report pane and upload the Word document template. Save the template and make sure the filter is still set to the time period we want to report. Return to the Report panel, and now we can generate the report. Once the report is exported, we can open it and look at our final result. Our final summary report shows how you can use different combinations of statistics methods to summarize data sets in various ways to make the information in your report even more accessible. The ability to use cover pages, headings, and other formatting options within Word means that summary report configuration is very flexible and that you can be creative when you build your reports. Also, Survey123 Reports are a premium ArcGIS service and consume credits to export. Standalone summary reports cost half a credit per report, and a report that includes summary sections and individual sections will cost 0.5 credits times the number of records included in the report. To find more information on getting started with summary reports, check out the Survey123 Summary Section documentation. And there's also a Summary Section blog by Ismail Shabite that's a great introduction. Next, Zach Sutherby will demonstrate a few ways to automate exporting reports.
Thank you, Barbara. I'll now cover some common ways to automate the generation of ArcGIS Survey123 reports. Now that you've seen how you can build stunning templates and create reports via the Survey123 website, you may want to automate that task when a survey is submitted or a bulk export of reports. There are 3 common ways to automate report generation. They are through webhooks, using the ArcGIS API for Python, or using the Report REST API in a custom application. Using webhooks, you can generate reports immediately in real time when a survey is submitted or updated. This would be ideal for workflows that need to send emails to survey responders containing their report, or add reports to a cloud storage provider for future analysis. Using the ArcGIS API for Python, you can generate reports at regular intervals, say nightly, weekly, or monthly, for example. You can set a query parameter in the GenerateReport Python API method to return records for a specified time period, and bulk generate reports for that time frame. The Survey123 Report REST API includes all the functionality of running reports directly through the Survey123 website or the ArcGIS API for Python, but is designed to integrate the report capability in your own applications. A webhook is a mechanism for one app to send data to another via a callback URL. There are a number of webhook providers out there, such as Microsoft Automate and Integromat. They are specifically designed to help you automate routine tasks and are configured visually without coding. These 2 providers include hundreds of out-of-the-box connectors including Office 365, Salesforce, Google Drive, and of course Survey123 as well. A very common way to automate report generation is to use webhooks. To demonstrate this, I've created a scenario in Integromat that will trigger each time a demolition permit application is approved. Here, you can see I have 2 surveys. One is for the public to submit new demolition permit applications, and the other is internal and used to approve those permit applications. The survey used to approve the permit applications has a few additional administrative questions in it for the reviewer to fill out. Opening the public survey, I'll submit a test record setting myself as the building owner so that I will receive the email. The survey asks for the building location, address, and main use for the building. After some information on the logistics for the demolition, the survey is ready to submit. I've configured a dashboard for the permit reviewers to check how many permits are currently in a queue, how many have been approved, and how many have been denied. The list on the left-hand side only shows records where the permit has not been reviewed yet. Selecting a record displays the record in the map for the reviewer to get a spatial reference, and opens the existing record using the internal survey in edit mode embedded on the right. In the embedded survey, the reviewer can review the information sent in the public survey by the applicant, and then fills out the last few questions approving or denying the application. Once the update is submitted, the webhook runs creating the report, uploading it to our organization's Google Drive account, and sending an email to the primary contact on the application, letting them know the result of their application and including a copy of their report. Switching over to Google Drive, you can see that a number of reports have been uploaded from the webhook. As you can see, the one that was just sent in the email has been uploaded to the folder. Taking a look at the webhook configuration, the first connector configured is the Survey123 connector to watch the survey. I have the connector configured with the internal survey and only runs when updates are made to the survey. Next, the Survey123 Create Report connector is configured with the internal survey and uses the report template that I've configured with the survey. The object ID of the feature that was updated is dynamically passed along from the previous Survey123 connector, and the output format is PDF. I've added some dynamic variables to the output report name to name the report address_approval_approval status. Moving on, the HTTP module is needed in order to obtain the report from the URL generated after creation. The URL is dynamically populated in the HTTP connector from the Survey123 Create Report connector. Once we have the report, it is uploaded to our organization's Google Drive account. The Google Drive connector allows me to select what folder I would like to upload the file to, and I set the source file as the file obtained from the HTTP connector. Finally, using the Gmail connector, I've set a connection to my organization's Gmail account and dynamically populate the To field with the email address of the contact entered in the survey. In the content of the email, dynamic content is populated to make the email a little bit more personalized. We pass in the building owner's name, if the request was approved or denied, and if denied, any additional comments on the denial. In the attachment section of the Gmail connector, I have set the file that was obtained in the HTTP connector in order to attach the report to the email. We'll now move on to using the ArcGIS API for Python to automate the generation of reports. As mentioned previously, webhooks are a common way to automate the generation of reports in real time, although you may want to automate this process over a specified time frame, for example, the past week, month, or quarter. This is where the ArcGIS Survey123 module in the ArcGIS API for Python can be used to achieve a similar goal. Here, I have a sample notebook hosted in ArcGIS Online that demonstrates ways you can use the ArcGIS Survey123 module to work with reports and covers the following functionality: generate a default report template, identify report templates associated with a survey, generate a single report, generate multiple reports and save them to your organization, and list recent reports. Since this notebook is hosted in ArcGIS Online, I can schedule it to run at regular intervals. I can schedule the notebook to run weekly, for example, and upload reports from that time frame to my organization. Please note, the Survey123 Report service is an ArcGIS Online premium service. It takes 0.5 credits per survey report generated. This applies no matter if the report is generated from the Survey123 website, a webhook, or the Python API. For ArcGIS Enterprise users, there is still no cost associated with generating reports when using automation workflows. The first step is to connect to your GIS. The GIS object represents an organization you are working with. It can be ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS Enterprise. This can be thought of as the key to access your surveys and other content such as feature layers and web maps. Next, a survey manager is defined, and a survey is accessed using the form's item ID. A survey in the Survey Manager is a single instance of a survey project that contains the item information and properties and provides access to the underlying survey dataset. Before generating any reports, let's check if there are any report templates already associated with the survey. Using the Report Templates method, any report template already associated with the survey will be returned in a list. For each template in the list, the title is printed using the print statement. To generate a single report, use the generateReport method and specify a single object ID in the where parameter. Since there was only one report template associated with the survey, the index of 0 is used. In this example, I use an object ID to specify the record I want, but the where clause follows the same format as the where parameter when querying a feature service layer. This means any where clause that returns the feature you are interested in will also work. You don't need to exclusively use the object ID. If you are looking to generate reports for multiple object IDs in the survey, you can specify object ID equals 1 or object ID equals 2 to generate reports for those two features. Alternatively, omitting the where clause will result in reports created for all features in the feature service. In either scenario, the output is saved as a zip file and will be stored locally on disk if run through a Jupyter notebook. In this case, the zip file was saved in the notebook's files. To generate reports and save them in your ArcGIS organization content, add the report title parameter. By specifying a report title, the reports are saved to your content as a code sample, which is available for download as a zip and viewed on the desktop. Please note, the report title parameter is required in order to upload your report to your organization. However, the name of your report or code sample will default to surveyname_report_unique ID. The code sample can then be shared to a group or publicly so that others can download the zip and view the reports. As you can see, for the where parameter, I have set where creation date is greater than or equal to the current timestamp -7, which will provide me reports for features that have been submitted the last 7 days. As noted previously, with this syntax set in the generate report method, I can schedule this notebook to run weekly, and the notebook will automatically upload the reports to my organization. Finally, use the reports property to list the reports stored in the ArcGIS organizational account from the current GIS connection. This shows all reports that are saved in that named user's content. The final automation tool I will discuss is the Survey123 Report REST API. The Survey123 Report REST API is provided to enable the ability for developers to create reports in your own workflows. The Survey123 Report REST API includes the same capabilities that are present in the Survey123 website or the ArcGIS API for Python, but exposes those resources directly through a REST API. Traditionally, to run reports, someone would need to do so from the ArcGIS Survey123 website. Using the Report REST API, you can create your own custom applications to generate reports in a way that is efficient and effective for your organization. For example, an application could be developed to create monthly reports by selecting records that were submitted in the past month and generate a PDF containing those records. Another example could be a daily summary report for submitted records. The application could query submissions from the past 24 hours and run summary statistics for those records each day. There are 8 operations available in the Report API that are available for use in custom applications. The operations are Quick Reference, which displays the report template syntax dynamically based on the input feature layer, Create Sample Template, which creates a default template in docx format for authors to get started, Check Template Syntax, which is a sync operation to check whether a template syntax contains errors that may lead to failure when generating a report, Create Report, which is a task resource to print reports based on a Word document template, Create Sample Report, which is a similar task to the Create Report operation for creating test sample reports and refining a report template. Jobs, which provides basic information about a specific report job, such as the job ID, status, and messages. If the job has completed, it provides information about the result as well as the input parameters. Query Jobs retrieves submitted jobs from the Create Report operation. Only the user's last 10 jobs will be returned. Finally, Estimate Credits is an operation to estimate how many credits are required for a Create Report task using the given input parameters. The general workflow when using the Survey123 Report REST API is to start off by sending a Submit Job request to the API. This request will contain information such as the REST URL for the feature layer associated with the survey, query parameters, item ID for the template item you would like to use, and a valid access token. The response of the Submit Job request will provide the ID for that specific job. Using that job ID, your application will need to send periodic requests to the job resource, passing along the ID supplied from the Submit Job task. When the task finishes and the report is ready, the response of the jobs request will contain the result information on the report as well as the URL to download the report. I will now show a custom embedded widget in a dashboard that uses the ArcGIS Survey123 Report REST API to generate reports directly within the dashboard. To demo the Report API, we have an embedded widget in a dashboard that estimates credits or creates a report for a selected record. Selecting a record in the panel on the left zooms to the record in the map as well as loads the associated survey in the embedded survey page. The record also passes its object ID to the embedded widget in order to create a report for that record. Selecting the Estimate Credits button in the embedded widget estimates the credits for the record selected. Since we are only estimating credits for one record, 0.5 is returned as expected. Selecting the Create Report button then creates the report for the selected record. As shown, the job is currently executing, and once the report job finishes, a button displays that allows the report to be downloaded locally. Although there are a number of webhook resources available in Esri Community, the 3 resources that are good places to start are the webhooks documentation, Automating Workflows with Survey123 and Microsoft Power Automate Esri Community blog, the Survey123 Tricks of the Trade Integromat Esri Community blog, and How to Create an ArcGIS Survey123 connector for Microsoft Power Automate for use with ArcGIS Enterprise Support knowledge article. For more information on the Survey123 module in the ArcGIS API for Python, please check out the Python API documentation. We also have published a GitHub repo that contains a handful of Python scripts, including the reports one demonstrated, as well as others that can help automate your Survey123 workflows. Please check out the Survey123 Report REST API documentation for more information on request parameters. And check out the GitHub link hosting the custom widget sample demonstrated for the Report REST API. I'll now hand it over to Jody to discuss what's next for reports.
Thanks, Zach. We now like to just share with you a few features that we have in development for Survey123 report. We're now working on improve the performance for surveys containing a large number of maps or images. You will also be able to use aggregate geometries in one map in the summary section. This means that you can show all locations you have selected in one map. We are also bringing in fully support for general hosted feature services, so you can use any feature service to generate reports, not only those created by Survey123 and have a form item. On behalf of Barbara, Zach, and myself, I would like to thank you for watching this session, and I hope you find this session helpful. And have fun with your reports. Thank you for watching.
Welcome to the live QA part of this session. I'm Barbara Webster, and I'll be moderating the QA session today. So we have quite a few questions coming in, and if we aren't able to get to all the questions, you can also start a chat or schedule a meeting with the team by clicking on the name of one of the experts listed for this session. So the first question is for Jody, and it is, I need a group of people to be able to make reports, not just the survey owner. Is there a way to do this?
Yeah, sure. The survey owner needs to share the survey results to like organization or a group of people, and then this shared group will be able to generate reports. But only the survey owner or organization administrator will be able to create report templates. Yeah.
Thanks, Jody. So the next question is for Zach. Can existing Survey123 reports be run through a web app, or is this only possible through the Survey123 website?
Yeah, just like it was demoed in the presentation, it can be run through a web app using the Report REST API. So just incorporating the REST API into your custom application, you can create reports in your own applications.
Great, thanks, Zach. Next question, can we get the samples used in this workshop? And I can take that one. So a lot of the samples used in this workshop were available in the Connect template gallery, or they've been slightly adapted from it. Also, if you're looking for examples of report templates, we just released a gallery on the Survey123 resources page that has a few examples of report templates. So the next question, we'll come back to Jody. Let's see, can multiple records be placed on a map in a report?
Currently not, but we are working on placing multiple geometries on a single map in the near future releases. Yeah, but currently not.
Okay, thanks, Jody. So the next question is for Zach again. Is Survey123 also available in ArcGIS Enterprise?
Yeah, so Survey123, you can publish surveys and pretty much do everything you can from ArcGIS Online in ArcGIS Enterprise. If you do want to use the reporting capabilities, there are 3 requirements in order to create reports. Your enterprise organization cannot use integrated Windows authentication for its authentication scheme. It needs to be accessible over the internet. And I'm drawing a blank on the third one. I'm sorry, Jody, what was that third one? Sorry.
Internet, wait. I think that's all. Is there another blocker?
I may be overestimating that. I think that might be just it.
Okay, great. Thanks, Zach. So next question. Let's see. So can you delete old templates if you've made updates and no longer need them? So I can take that one. Yes, you can delete old report templates on the Survey123 website. You can do this on the data tab in the report pane. There's a UI for you to delete old templates. So let's see, next question is from Byron Burrell, and this is for Jody. Is there a way that you can use previous inspection results when entering answers into Survey123, and the report you generate only shows changes made? If my standard inspection is 16 pages, but I only made a few changes, I want my report to only show changes to cut down on excess paper or data produced.
Yeah, actually, I don't have a good solution for that. All I can think about is that you can filter your records by some criteria, like the surveys have been updated within the past 7 days or something like that, to flag those records and to only like pass those query results to the reports. But other than that, I can't think anything else.
Okay, great. So next question is for Zach. Is it possible to automatically generate reports using Python and or webhooks?
Yep, both are very feasible. Using the ArcGIS API for Python, we have a Survey123 module available, and you can generate reports that way. And in Integromat, we have an out-of-the-box connector that you can create reports. In Power Automate, unfortunately, we don't have an out-of-the-box connector at the moment, but the workflow is technically possible using the report REST API. It just takes some knowledge of REST requests in Power Automate.
Okay, so next question, can a report be generated on Survey123 Connect? And I can take this one. So a report needs to be published before you're able to create a report for it, and it has to have data in the survey. And so it cannot be generated from Survey123 Connect. It has to be done from the Survey123 website. Let's see. From Neil Young, this question's for Jody. What are the differences between ArcGIS Online and ArcGIS Enterprise in relation to this reporting functionality?
Yeah, I think Zach already had explained a little, but there are some other differences, like the image attachments, because the image attachments will use keywords, so they can be attached to specific questions. But the enterprise earlier than 10.8.1 doesn't support that. So only the enterprise later than 10.8.1 can support print images with associated questions. This is the main difference between ArcGIS Online and Enterprise.
Okay, great. So Zach, can this reporting be configured from an experience builder or web app builder through a widget? Or is this strictly through Survey123?
Yeah, so just like it was demoed, you can use the report REST API to create a custom application and embed that application into either Experience Builder or dashboards, and you can generate reports that way.
Okay, great. Let's see, next question is from Justin. Can PDF reports be generated in the field from a mobile device? Currently, this is not possible unless you're accessing the Survey123 website from the mobile device and generating the report that way.
What you can do if you do want to generate reports, say you're out in the field, is you can set up a webhook so that the report gets generated with every survey submission. So when your field workers are out in the field and they submit a survey, a report can automatically be generated once that survey is submitted.
Oh, great. Yep. There you go. All right. Next question for Jody from Hassam Al-Jabri. Is there an option to get a generate button in the URL parameters as there is for choosing format report equals format PDF?
Sorry. No, the generate button is not in the URL parameters, but I will encourage you to raise an enhancement case to Esri support so we can collect the feedbacks on those requests.
Okay. So next question is for Zach. If I'm doing minor editing to the template, do I need to upload a new version every time I make edits? Is there an easier way to do it?
Yeah, so you would need to upload a new template every time or update the existing template every time. With the 1.9 release of the ArcGIS API for Python, we've actually added a method that will allow you to update your template. So you can automate that workflow using the current Python API release. To automate updating that template.
Okay, great. And let's see, the next question we have is, how can notebooks be scheduled to run weekly on the server? So as Zach demoed, this could be done with webhooks in a number of third-party systems like Power Automate or Integromat.
And a couple of releases ago, ArcGIS Online introduced support for automating notebooks directly in ArcGIS Online. So please check out the ArcGIS Online documentation on automating hosting web-hosted notebooks in that environment. Okay,
great. And one more question for you, Zach. Can we get the notebook from the demo?
Yep, that's available in our Survey123 Tools GitHub repo. So the link is in the presentation, and it's just on GitHub. Survey123 Tools is the name of the repo, and then it has that notebook as well as a few other ones.
Okay, and next question is for Jody. Are there plans to have create a feature report and upload it to OneDrive for Business when a survey is submitted, integration from Integromat for Power Automate?
For Integromat, you can do that, but yeah, for Power Automate, we don't have a connector that can do the feature report right now, but we are working on to provide a template which integrates the REST APIs into the Power Automate. Yeah.
Okay, great. So the next question is, can reports be generated to summarize a set of survey answers or only for individual responses? Yes, they definitely can. And check out the Survey123 documentation to see documentation for all of the different filters you can use that I demoed in the session. Let's see, next is A question for Zach from Eli. Rather than using Google Drive and Gmail, can we use SharePoint and Outlook?
Yep. Thank you, Eli. That's a good question. If you're using Power Automate, for example, I think Power Automate has Outlook and Office 365 automatically integrated with them. I think it's also an Integromat as well. So it would just depend on who your webhook provider is and if they support those connectors.
Okay, thanks, Zach. So next question is for Jody. How do you include photos in your report when captured in an image question with a multi-line appearance?
You can use a similar syntax as using repeats, which is put a hash sign before the multi-line appearance image question. So you can iterate each image and print them out. And you can find the syntax on our documentation. Yeah.
Okay, great. And next question is, does creating reports cost ArcGIS credits? Yes, it does, unless you're using Enterprise. It costs half a credit for each summary report. And then if you're exporting individual reports, it costs half a credit per feature, or per record, I should say. Let's see, next question is for Zach. How do I print an image that is captured through Survey123 Connect for the data published through reference service?
Yeah, so just like Jody had mentioned, reports use attachment keywords. So if you're using a reference service, you have to make sure that keywords are enabled on the feature class in the Enterprise Geo database. And if keywords are enabled on the feature class in the Enterprise Geo database, each attachment will need their own keyword, which will be mapped to the name of the image question. And then if that is the case, then you should be able to use those images in your reports.
Okay, thanks. And then, so I think we just have time for one more question. So the last question is for Jody. Question from Kevin. I'd really appreciate some explanation or discussion about the problem with reports in enterprise installation that use IWA. Are there any workarounds for this? It's a barrier to implementation.
Yeah, the tricky part is because the report service is hosted on Amazon Web Service and on AWS, and AWS doesn't have Windows servers. So the IWA authentication cannot work because it's integrated Windows authentication. No, we don't have a workaround for that. Except for change to a different authentication. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you, Jody. So it looks like we are just about out of time. If you have any questions that we weren't able to get to today, again, you can reach out to us directly from the session page, or you can also ask questions in the Survey123 community within the Esri community site. So thank you for coming today.